Welcome back to the Gen Z Speaks podcast. With us today, a special guest as always. Introduce yourself.
Arpit Jain, comedian out of Los Angeles.
No, Arpit, I don't like midgets. I don't like midgets, okay? I'll tell you that much.
Hey, that makes one of us, though, right?
Yeah.
When did you decide to be a comedian?
It probably was when I moved to New York. I was actually kind of timing of everything worked out perfectly. I did my best friend's best man speech.
Okay.
And that was the first time I kind of got on stage and like wrote jokes, and a week later I moved to New York and went to the Comedy Cellar 2 nights in a row. And I saw
By the way, one of the best clubs in the world.
yeah. Oh my God. Where we were sitting
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so nice. The setup, everything, like right there in New York. But I saw, and I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Chris Rock.
No, it was Sam.
That's where he started.
What's his name? Sam.
Levinson?
Skinny white dude. He's
So many skinny white.
he has a
comedians.
podcast with Mark Normand. It's literally on the tip of my tongue, his name, and I'm forgetting.
Regardless, you saw him.
Saw him 2 nights in a row.
Okay.
And I think that's what kind of was like, oh, because he did some of the jokes the first night. Then he did the jokes the second night, and he switched them up a little bit.
Okay.
And when he did them the first night, they actually didn't hit. And I was like, when he did them the second night, and that's when it kind of clicked to me. I was like, oh, people like aren't just funny right away when you go on stage.
Right.
Like, you have to work on it, and you have to like, he switched some words around. And I think that was kind of my fear was like, you got to be funny right away when you go up there, and like people already know what they're going to say. They know it's going to work. So when I saw him kind of do that, I was like, oh, it's okay to like go up there and like suck. Not to say he sucked, but like to know like, hey, I'm still working on this bit, or this isn't going to hit the way I want it. And then 3 weeks after that, I moved to Austin, where everyone does stand up there. And I was walking distance to the Creek and the Cave. So I decided to just sign up one night and do an open mic the next day. So,
Oh, wow. So you started comedy in Austin.
yeah, that's the first time I went on stage. But the first time I kind of had the thought was going to the Comedy Cellar in New York. And I think if I didn't go 2 nights in a row and saw the same comic
You don't
go
think
up,
it would have been in?
no, because it's so
Wow.
intimidating, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
having to go up there and like make the room laugh and like but seeing them like, I don't want to say like they were bombing, but knowing like, hey, of his 5 minutes, only like maybe 3 minutes of it was laughs, 2 minutes wasn't, because it was new stuff. Then he came the next day and he got a little bit more laughs on it. So
Nice.
that was kind of cool to see. Yeah.
How long was your best man speech?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. And
Yeah.
that was straight just jokes, or did you tell?
Yeah,
stories?
it was pretty much
Wow.
all jokes. And the crazy thing about that is I knew I was going to be the best man at the wedding for months, right? And probably 7 days before the wedding, my friend hits me up. He's like, yo, I'm going to need you to do a speech. And to me, I'm kind of like a perfectionist. So I was like, okay, like if I'm going to be speaking in front of 200 people, like I want it to be good.
Do it right, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of was like, why didn't you give me a heads up? Like, why'd I only get a week? So, but that's kind of where it started, because I've always been like a jokester. Like, I'm not with my friends and my family. I always joke around, but never ever thought about doing stand up. Ever, never crossed my mind. I've been a fan, but that 7 days at night after work, I would just sit there and like write, and it was the first time I tried to like write jokes.
Yeah.
And I was having so much fun. I'm a CPA by trade, so I work in accounting, and I've never considered myself artistic.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, anything like that. But I felt like I discovered this whole side of my brain I didn't even know I had, but just sitting there and trying to write jokes. So it was pretty much 7 minutes of just jokes the whole time.
So that was your first time doing comedy then?
That was my first time doing comedy, yeah.
In front of 200 people.
Yeah, and I've been very lucky. I've got to do, since then, 4 best man speeches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like I've got to.
So you're the designated best man.
Yeah, basically.
Designated best man.
Yeah, basically it's a title I'm glad to have. But yeah,
So 5 in total.
5 in total, and
Wow.
I've hosted my other friend's wedding. Yeah,
Okay.
or MC'd, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
inside
doing my
jokes are the best.
sister's. But the thing is, I think a lot of these weddings I would have been doing them anyways.
Okay.
But now my friends were like, "Yo, this will be good for you too," and it's
Good for your career.
Yeah, honestly, it gives me motivation to like keep
That's cool.
writing too,
Yeah.
right? Like, because I've had to write in just best man speeches close to like 30 minutes of material, in just best man speeches.
Wow. So wait, so when you write a best man speech, is it all just inside jokes, or are you just trying out materials?
No, it's no.
Like,
no,
might as well, bro. You got 200 people.
I wanted to open up the
So
last
gay people.
the last wedding of one of my best friends. I wanted to open. He was at a beautiful wedding venue in Mexico, and I wanted to open it. Like, I haven't been in a venue so nice since a Diddy party. But like, so I was like, I don't want to just throw random stuff in there, But he totally told me
great
good, bro.
and it was around all this time when the Diddy stuff was breaking. But I've tried to make it all inside jokes and like, but like where other people would understand it. Like I told my friends, like, my duty in these speeches is like to get people to know you how I know you as a friend.
Gotcha.
Because you have siblings who get to describe this person as how it is being their sibling.
Yeah.
Parents get to describe how it is being their parents. And for me, it was like the friend. I feel like it's like the way the world sees you as the friend. So I always try and like make those inside jokes where people can relate to them, or like show a side of them that if you're not, like, if you're a coworker or a family member, you might not see. So it's like telling the story still, but trying to embarrass them a little bit.
I have
right?
a business idea for you, bro.
What is it?
PMC at weddings.
Yeah, my friends
Hire
have told
a
me
best
that.
friend. What is it called? What is it called?
Videographer?
No,
What are you talking
groomsman.
Mhm.
The best man.
Yeah.
Hire a best man.
No,
that should be your service,
It's
bro.
like
Hire
I
a
Love You, man. Like that movie, right, where he like rents out basically.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
No, my friends have told me that
HireABestMan.com.
too. I could do that, but I feel like
There are lonely dudes out there, man.
I feel like I'd have to like interview the person for like
A couple
hours,
months?
yeah,
Yeah.
and like kind of get to, because the thing with my friends is like we've all known. That's why I was so impressed. Like, you guys have known each other since high school.
Bro.
Like, I've known all my friends since high school, since college. So
Nice,
and it's like I have years of material
Right, on them.
It's like sometimes I have to pick, because I was like, I would always ask them, how much time do I get?
Yeah.
Because I could have gone on
Forever.
at least 15 minutes. Like, even if you look at my notes that I wrote on every single one of my friends, it's like, I always tell them after. One of my friends at his wedding, I was like, yo, at the after party, I should just read all the ones I didn't do. Because it's like stuff will come to mind and like, oh damn, I can't say that. Like, or like, oh, his wife's gonna be there, I can't say that one.
What happens?
That was funny.
Has it ever happened that a joke didn't work, or do all the jokes just hit?
There's
inside
definitely
jokes.
been times where I think a lot of the weddings, almost all of them actually were all Indian weddings. So I think
That's a tough crowd, by the way.
it is.
All Indian people.
yeah. Well, I think it's like what sucks is that.
This guy loves Indians.
He has a fetish.
This guy
Indian
loves-
people.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's got a thing for Indians, bro.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Wait,
that
what's
much.
your ethnicity, by the way?
I'm half Indian and half Mexican.
Okay, I couldn't
yeah.
tell fully, but I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
now
definitely
I can,
mixed.
Okay, I can see some. Now I see both. Though. I was like,
Yeah.
you definitely look like you got some Indian in you. I just couldn't tell. That's a good mix, man. That's a
Yeah,
crazy
that's why he
mix.
hangs out with us, bro.
Yeah, you're like the middle, the Venn diagram of the.
He's like the Filipino oddball out.
Oh, that's why you like him, huh?
He loves them, bro.
That's
does-
dope, man. Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't hang out with Indians until college. Like, I actually did not hang out with Indian people.
You shied
before
away
that.
from them. You're like, I don't want to hang out with them.
I just felt like every time I did, it was never like I grew up in an apartment complex that was all Indian people.
Okay.
And
That's this guy.
yeah,
That's
and
literally his story.
but this one was like it was like even the police they would call it Chandigarh, like the city in India. Like that was the name for it.
Little Chandigarh.
Yeah, no, they didn't put little. In front. It
Where?
was
Which
just-
city?
I'm originally from Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so over there it was just like I would say 95% of the apartment complex was Indian.
Wow.
Yeah, and so like growing up around that,
That's
it
crazy.
it was literally all Indian people. Like
Indian people everywhere, man.
yeah,
Damn.
and everyone would walk everywhere. It was cool, but like it was
infiltrated,
yeah, we literally and it was in the hood too. So that's
Even
what's crazy.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
The hood of Sacramento.
Do you guys have you guys seen, I don't know if your guys' algorithm, but I get a lot of. Do you guys know who Aaron the plumber is?
No.
The dude from the Pop the Balloon show that tries to fight everyone.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, he's always on my algorithm, but he's from like Center Park in Macway, where Chandigarh is where I grew up, and he's like, yeah, that's the streets that made it. It's like super hood, but like in our little apartment complex, it was all Indian.
So you're from the
people.
hood, basically.
I lived there until I was so I grew up in Zimbabwe actually, and
Yeah,
then
you
I
told me, yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
So
you
I was-
moved all over the place.
When I was younger, I did. Yeah, we moved from
So you're African.
kind of.
You're
Yeah, I
African
kind of
Indian,
claim it.
yeah.
Yeah, I was
African
like-
American.
You're an African American.
African Indian. That's what I'll say. But no, I lived in Zimbabwe for about 5-6 years before we moved to Sacramento. Sacramento.
Okay.
Born in Zimbabwe.
Born in
You say-
Sacramento.
Born in Sacramento.
Yeah, I'm an
Okay.
anchor baby. My parents, like, did it right. Like, my mom was pregnant with me. She came to visit her sister. I was born here, and then we moved back to
Wow,
Africa.
smart.
Yeah. So then we moved here in
So
'96.
Sac, Zimbabwe, Sac.
Yeah, and then when we were in Sac, our first, like, I went to 5 different elementary schools. Like,
Okay.
we moved a lot in Sacramento, and always kind of in the hood. I mean, like every immigrant story, right? Like,
Yeah.
my parents were trying to get set, and then we finally moved out when I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
And then that's the house my parents still live in now.
Over there still?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Elk Grove. It's like a little
Oh, Elk Grove? I've
suburb.
heard
Have
it,
you
yeah.
heard of it?
Yeah, I've
Okay,
heard
yeah.
of
It's a small little. That's why I just tell people Sacramento, because that is where I
Close
grew
by, yeah.
up. But it's kind of like saying, LA,
Downey, LA.
Pasadena. Yeah, or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Same thing. But you had said something about the weddings. I forgot.
Yeah. Like, what happens when you do a joke?
Oh, and it doesn't land.
doesn't
Okay, yeah. So it was all Indian people,
in
right?
weddings,
And
yeah.
yeah, so I think you have to be kind of cognizant of like, one of the weddings where I felt like when I was up there, I was dying because it was like, I want to say it was like 600 people.
Holy
Yeah, it was
That's
like,
a theater, bro.
it was a Patel wedding, They had like the
Oh, yeah.
whole thing. It had everyone there. Yeah, I was like, damn, all these motels shut down for the weekend. So it was like,
In observance of Patel Day.
yeah, it was in Orlando too. They had to get one of
Oh,
those
wow.
bigger venues. My friend and his wife don't have any ties to Orlando, but they just needed a venue that was big enough to have all these people. So like when you walk in, and when I went up, I was like, you want like the laugh. You were like, okay, it should be loud because it's 600 people,
Yeah.
right? And when I was up there, oh my God, it was like, I was definitely bombing. Like it was like nothing was hitting. To me, that's what it sounded like,
Okay.
right? Because I can't hear anyone laugh,
large
nothing.
room.
Yeah.
So how far is the front row from you, from the stage?
So the way the stage was set up, it wasn't even a stage. It was just like the middle. It was like a reception at the reception, right? So
Okay.
they had,
It's a big hall.
yeah, it was a big hall. It was
That's
a
the problem.
rectangle.
Yeah.
And then everyone, the family and friends the family was around me. The couple's obviously behind me. And when I watched it back, so in the moment I was like, this is terrible. Like I'm like doing so. And then the thing is, my friends were like gassing me up too. So they were telling everyone like, oh yeah, he's a comedian. Like everyone is going to be, and I was like, oh my God.
Stand-up comedian.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Russell Peters.
Yeah, so there's already this pressure, right? So then I go up and I'm like going through like my speech, and I like all the jokes. Like I hear like the thing too, like of the 600 people, I would say the crowd that was like younger, like understood or spoke English,
Yeah.
like understands all that, probably less than like 100 people. Like everyone was a lot older, a lot of family,
Yeah.
or
Non-English speakers.
no, I mean they speak English, but maybe like not understand the references
Oh,
or
gotcha.
stuff like
Yeah,
that. So, and those people, like my friends and stuff, they were like the furthest tables, and so like to me, I'm sitting up here thinking I'm dying, like this is gonna be so bad, like I just want to be done. And then I rewatched the video the next day. And it's like I could hear like the laughter
Yeah.
kind of from the back,
From the
from
back.
where my friends and like all the younger people were sitting. So and I rewatched it and I was like, okay, like the jokes were funny.
Yeah.
Maybe up there like the acoustics weren't as good. Even
Right.
my friend, obviously, he loved
Yeah.
it. But that was in the moment. I was like, damn, none of this is landing. None of this is hitting. This is terrible. I'm never gonna be. I had my other friend's wedding after he'd already asked me to do the speech. I was like, oh, he's gonna tell me not to do his. Like it was so bad. Yeah.
600 people's a lot.
Yeah, I want to say it was around there 500, 600 people.
Wow.
I would just start doing crowd work at that point.
Oh,
I would just, like,
at that
get off the
point,
people, start making fun of the uncles.
I wanted to get off the stage.
How good
with
is your
that.
marriage right now?
No, I
When
wanted
was the
to
last
get
time
off.
you guys slept?
Yeah, no, it was I could have, but even like the lights too, I couldn't even see really,
Blinding.
Yeah, so that also, I mean, I felt like it helped because I was
Yeah,
like,
because you were
okay.
just blind.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
I don't want to see their straight faces.
Yeah, I don't want to see him just kind of like this the whole time. Like, when is food? And that's the thing, I was last, so no one had eaten yet.
Oh.
It was probably like 10:30. Everything kind of ran late.
Oh my God.
So that's the other thing. People are
They were
kind
waiting
of
for
you.
antsy. Yeah. So either way, like I think
They had
that,
to get through you to get
yeah,
to the
exactly.
dinner.
That's why they're like, oh my gosh, they're done yet. Like we just trying to eat. Yeah, so that was the moment where I was like, "Oh my God, I'm bombing up here, and nothing's landing." And but I think when I rewatched the video, it seemed like the
was
jokes
fine,
landed
yeah.
for the
Yeah.
crowd that I was going for.
Are you
know?
memorizing all these speeches?
I do.
You
yeah,
do?
I
Wow,
do,
committed.
Yeah, I have my phone just in case,
Yeah.
but knock on wood, I've never had to look at it. I just feel like it's better for my timing.
For
Like,
sure.
I feel like if I have to stop and look, it kind of ruins the flow.
The
that
flow-
I
that's
have.
fair, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll try and memorize it.
Any
yeah.
best man speeches coming up?
Well, not necessarily best man, but my sister's getting married in September. She
Okay.
already told me and my brother, obviously being siblings, we're gonna do the speech
Speeches,
together. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool, man.
Yeah, so
Wow.
she's already kind of been like, well, I've seen all the ones you've done for your friends, and like this one better be the best one, like all this stuff, like already putting pressure and all
How
that.
big is the audience gonna be?
I think she's still in the process of finalizing her guest list, but I don't think it'll be more than 300. So
Okay. That's
Yeah.
That's a lot of
That's a
people.
lot of people.
it is, but I think I always look at it like this though.
Yeah.
After doing this a couple times, like my audience is really gonna be like the younger
Yeah.
group, right? Like I can't target it to like, the aunties, the uncles, the
50
grandparents.
to 75.
Yeah, I was like, they're not at this, like, they're not gonna get half the stuff, or so like of the people that are probably, well, he has a lot, probably like 150, I would say that would actually understand, or
So 150 people. How do you guys? I'm just curious about the wedding. How do you go through 300 people? How do you like name off 300 people?
dude, I'm still not married. I look at my brother and my sister, how they do it, and like what they told me. I mean, sometimes it gets ruthless, like no, absolutely not inviting this person.
Yeah.
And like it's because they have to pay for every person,
Right,
that comes,
100%.
and I think it's more on like that wedding I told you where my friend was like 500 people. Her
Yeah.
side is huge. They are like, I always tell her she's part of the Patel cartel, like for sure.
Shit.
So it's a lot of family friends, even like
Okay.
people she didn't even really
No,
know,
a lot of
right?
times that's the case, huh?
Yeah, and
just
then
the
for-
parents are like, hey,
Exactly.
we
You got to have this
Yeah.
person here for the community, or like we've known them for years.
Optics.
Yeah, optics, right?
The motel mafia, bro.
The political game, the political game. Yeah. No, but then my sister's wedding, she wants the wedding to be small,
Yeah.
but he
300
has
is small.
No, but he has a
Oh,
lot
he's
of
got the
people.
whole-
Yeah, I think even from her side, it's less
Okay.
than 100, and it's like his side is gonna have.
Bro,
a
I
lot.
want like 20, 30 people at
Right?
my wedding.
It's
Yeah.
That's not possible.
And
Your
that's what I
wedding
would
is not gonna be.
like.
He's
30 people.
looking at you like you're not invited.
Well,
Like, you're cut. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Indian hater.
That's like all my family members. Like 10 people all coming.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
30
tough.
people is small.
I definitely would want something like that. I wouldn't want anything super. I just feel like you're looking at, because I've been to big weddings, maybe not 600 people, but like I'm looking, I'm like, the groom and bride, they're not even talking to these people.
That's
Like,
the tough
they've never
part.
even met them. It's like, why the fuck do I care about them?
And you don't even really get to interact with them.
yeah,
at all.
exactly.
No, well, my other friend who got married, he got married in Mexico. So I think the
Yeah.
cheat code is if you do a destination,
Yeah.
you get to like trim the fat a little bit because
'Cause they'll just say no.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
wedding, I think. I mean, it was still more than he had expected, but I think they had like 150 people.
150. Okay.
Yeah, and
Still
that
a
was
lot
in
for
Mexico.
destination.
They were
That's
aiming
still
for like
a lot for
100.
destination.
I think that's what it was. They had 100, but then the family were like, "Yo, you gotta."
Invite all these.
So then
happens.
another 50 ended up
Yeah.
coming. Yeah.
So what's the policy for a destination wedding? Are you paying for their flights?
I mean, shit, I wouldn't. Like, no,
Yeah,
hell no.
kind of crazy, huh?
No, I think.
What do you pay for? Just the food?
I think it would just be
The wedding.
Yeah, just like anything else, like a normal wedding, right? You would pay for the food. I think all that other stuff would be on them. But I mean, that's a good point. Like I got family coming to my sister's wedding from India, and so like my dad's gonna make sure to take care of them. So I think
Oh, wow,
if it's
okay.
family that direct
Yeah.
like that, I think probably.
Yeah.
But I think if it's like,
Like a
not
friend, yeah.
direct, yeah, exactly. It's kind of
Yeah.
like
You
they're-
figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have to go on vacation if you do a destination wedding.
Yeah, it's basically a trip.
It is,
right?
yeah.
I mean, you're taking a vacation. I hope you're not going to my wedding just for the day.
No,
Like-
well, Indian weddings too, though, right? It's like
Yeah.
3-4 days.
Of the
Yeah.
So last year, actually, it's
these run
crazy.
so expensive.
All my friends got married last year, or a
All
lot
of
of them. Like probably 3 of my best friends got married
One
last year.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
incredible.
bachelor parties, weddings, last year, like I took no trips
Yeah.
unless it was for a bachelor party or wedding or work. Like I didn't have any like personal, because I was traveling so much
Yeah.
because of. I went to we went to Colombia for a bachelor party. Went to Vancouver for one, went to Montreal for one, went to Vegas for one, and then weddings, Mexico, Orlando, Sacramento, San Diego. Like everything that I was traveling
Yeah.
for was weddings or bachelor parties.
Last year, bro, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was perfect. And I was having to do speeches at
Yeah,
them too,
and-
right? So it was like I
You're
was
like,
kind of
put me on
working
the
too. Like I wouldn't be like I would be stressed until I
Yeah.
was done, and then I would start drinking. Then I would start kind of letting loose and
Okay.
having fun because it's like I didn't want to go up there like drunk, and do the speech.
So when you're doing these speeches, does I don't know, like a woman who's interested in you come up to you and be like, "Listen, Arpit, do you want to make it our wedding this time, this year, next time? Like, dude, does that ever happen?
I've had that happen. The first one that I did.
First one ever.
Yeah, but I
Damn.
totally just an auntie saying it in passing, joking. You know, I
But
was
she
being
said it.
serious. Yeah,
Yeah.
she said it, and then there was another.
Wait, was an auntie hitting on you?
Well, not kind of. Well, she was asking me to do her daughter's she said her daughter and her son were getting married to do
okay.
like MC or host, and then I've had two of the hosts and MCs from two different weddings be like, "Oh, you should work with us. Like, you could MC,
Wow, okay.
you could like host and do stuff like that."
What'd you say?
I was like, I don't know if I feel like it for me. It's like it's so intimate. Like I've only because I know them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I wouldn't want to like show up at some random person's wedding, even if they hire me, they're paying me. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
something about that. It's just
Doesn't feel right.
it doesn't. Yeah, I feel like the fun in
I
it.
would do it just for the material.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't. It wouldn't be fun because even like all these weddings, like I would have done like the speech anyways.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's just more added to do it. So I feel like if it was someone random, even if I'm like hosting, I'd be like, I don't know anyone here. Like,
Indian
what am
wedding
I-
crashers.
Yeah, it could be like. Well, I guess I could look at it from that point, but no, I never followed up on it or anything like that.
What if you wedding crash and you start emceeing the
Yeah,
wedding?
you just grab testing,
Grab the mic.
testing.
That would be
testing,
insane.
testing, 1, 2, 3. Back in high school.
Yo, I got a type 5. Like, I'm just try out you guys. You just
I'm
start
just
that
warming
out.
up the crowd, guys.
Yeah. Or you just start doing crowd work. About
Yeah, just-
absolutely nothing.
That'd be insane.
That's a great opening scene in a movie. Like
That
two
really
guys.
would
That would be
be.
good.
Yeah.
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 Wait, hold on. So I met like a woman hitting on you like afterwards. Like, have they like asked you out or something? Or it's like,
So there's been one time where this girl that I actually went on a date with last year, she was like, "Oh, I actually was at this wedding and you gave the speech." I was like, "No,
No
way.
way.
She like knew the mutual
Yeah.
friends. She was on the bride's
Oh
side.
wow. Okay.
And she was like, "I saw your speech." She's like, "You're really good," and all this stuff. And so not like in the moment,
Yeah.
but like after the fact. Yeah. And
so
we
you had a
met-
fan.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." I was like, "You see?"
That is pretty
Like,
dope.
yeah. So that was kind of cool. There was no second date though, but at
So
least
Instagram stalking you.
yeah, I think she still follows me. Yeah.
There you go.
So still got
Hit
a
her
fan
up
from
again,
her. Yeah.
Go
Good.
to Sac.
But that was no time. Nothing like. But I think a lot of those weddings, I had a girlfriend at the time. I think two of them I had a girlfriend at the time. So can't really hit on me. You
No
know?
time to not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Exactly.
How do we get you? So, real quick. How do we get you from girlfriend to tying the knot, bro?
Well, I got to start with girlfriend though first. I'm single
What's-
right now, so like I got to start at step A before I get to B before I get to C.
I guess. I mean, you don't need to.
That's true. You want me to just go straight
Straight into
the
it.
90-day
Bro,
fiance?
it's actually insane how many old people, bro, I've run into, and they're like the ladies that were like, my husband asked me to marry them the night we met.
Oh my god.
I've met like 3 couples.
But when you
bro.
say like what age group are they?
no, they're older.
Okay.
They're older for sure.
90 to 105.
No, bro, like 60,
Still getting
70s.
Social Security in there.
It's when I hear these stories, I'm like, wow, bro. I feel like if I did that with a girl on the first day, she'd be like,
That's a
what
red flag.
the fuck? Exactly.
It's a red,
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a red flag.
100%.
sure.
Yeah.
In this
Yeah.
economy.
Yeah. Oh, actually, in this economy, because that's why people got married earlier. Is like it was economic.
Yeah, it made
benefit.
more sense. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like the word in-law came from like now like our assets are all in law with each other, and we can do business. It was like a form of like being stronger.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think about my parents. They met a week before they had decided to get married, and that was
A
my
week
parents.
before?
Yeah, that was my parents, and like their
See
parents.
what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many stories like this.
Nah, I could never. I think you gotta, wait till the mask comes off. You get to know each other a little bit, and sometimes that's not like a week, you know.
Yeah. That's not a week.
So no way. I got to start with.
I think
first girlfriend.
romanticizing love was also a lot bigger back then.
You think so?
I think
feel
so.
like now it is, don't you think?
I don't know, dude.
Because I think back then that's why they got married so fast because they didn't really believe in love, right? They were
Oh,
like,
you think so?
yeah, like I know, like there's an expression I've heard from a couple of older people in like my community who it's like your second life starts when you get married based on like you don't need to go into it knowing the person, but your second life begins with them. And I'm like, that sounds like bullshit. Like, like I don't want to know about that. But I think it's also because in the brown community, right, they don't believe in divorce really, or it's like kind of
Right.
taboo. So you're kind of like making it work with this person when you don't have a foundation
You
of
don't have a
love.
choice. Yeah. Okay.
So I
That's a
don't
fair
know.
point,
Yeah.
yeah. I also think about it in terms of like not just in brown, just in people in general. I've been listening to like more biopics recently, and recently I've been listening to I was listening to Einstein's documentary, and he was writing letters to these dude off the bat, bro. He's writing like these crazy love letters. He's like going out, I love you so much, this and that. And he's like in a different country, bro.
Damn, he got
And it's
game.
like,
Who's he writing letters to? Einstein.
Bro, this dude was actually a player. I'm not shitting you. It's weird.
I mean,
To
equation
think
for you.
about-
It's called E equals.
Yeah, I was like,
Crazy,
this guy's
bro.
writing equations.
Dude
and-
was not even like a nerd when he was younger. He was like not great in school. He was a player with girls, bro. He couldn't.
Einstein?
Insane, dude.
You don't see it, huh?
You don't see it,
I'm
dude.
shitting on him right now.
I was listening to I'm listening to a documentary. It's Walter Isaacson, like a legitimate biographer, and telling like he didn't even get a job for his first like 10, 12 years. They didn't believe in his abilities.
I can see that though, because sometimes when you're so like ahead of like
Of
everyone,
everybody,
they kind of just look
yeah.
at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
But maybe the girls were into it. Like maybe you see him doing good there. Apparently.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, because that. I mean, yeah. I guess he had
had
some
some game.
mean game with his pen that he was writing these letters.
I think the reason why marriages were successful in the past, by past I mean like 30 years ago, was because they weren't spending so much time getting to know each other before getting married. Because if you already spend like, let's say like over 5 years knowing somebody before you get married, you've already gone through everything. So like when you get married, it's not special. It's not like you're beginning a new journey together.
That's
If
my
you've already like
parents'
living
mindset.
in, if you're already like living together, especially, you're basically existing as a married couple. So when you get married, you think something special is supposed to happen, and when it doesn't, you're like, oh wait, did I make the wrong mistake? And then people start leaving each other. That's my theory.
That's literally what my parents say. They say
Yeah.
if you're gonna spend so much time getting to know that person, you're gonna only see their flaws, and you're not gonna try and build with them. And
Yeah.
that's why they would. That's literally why my dad said, like, your second life begins, and you kind of figure it out together. And that sounds so scary to do, though.
I agree and disagree with
Yeah.
it, right?
What do you disagree?
Put you on
Tell me,
the-
tell me.
What I disagree with, bro, is I don't think you have to. You believe that something is going to happen if you're romanticizing this moment your entire life. But if if you're the type of person like in life where you always keep things fun, you're always spontaneous, they never know what's going to come. I think things are always going to be special whether you're married or not. I don't think you need to tie the knot in order to solidify this and now it's going to be we're learning together. I think life is progress. Everyone's learning constantly.
Wrong.
No, but I do agree with part of that too. Like this whole getting like the law involved,
Yeah.
and like you have to do it on paper, because it's like it's weird, right? Like if you think about all the relationships that we have, like even with our friends,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing like law abiding,
Fighting
like,
about it.
but we still love them in a different way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, but you're
something
not
that-
sleeping with your friends. Like,
But,
this is-
but that's what I'm saying, because you're sleeping with them, like you have to sign a paper. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Like it's kind of weird. Yeah, like that's basically what it is. Like
Yeah.
y'all are fucking. All right, let's make it official
Yeah.
on the paper. Yeah.
These two people are officially doing
Yeah,
it.
so I can see a lot of people that are like delaying they'll have their weddings actually,
Yeah.
but they won't get court married because they're like,
Really?
yeah. I've heard a
that
lot of
too.
people doing that.
I've heard the
now.
opposite too. I've heard both, yeah.
Wait, what's their logic for not?
Because it's like, why involve like the government or like the law? And even for us being brown, like if you think about it, our traditions are like walking around the fire. That's like where it's official. It's not, oh, you signed with like the government now and they
Yeah.
know you have a marriage. So it's and the big reason people do it obviously is for taxes, right?
Yeah.
But you can still file however you want. You can't file married if you're not technically married, but you can still file single.
Yeah.
Filing jointly and stuff like that. There's a lot of different ways to get around it.
Yeah.
So it's becoming more common. I wouldn't say it's like the norm, but I know people who are at least considering that option, because think about if it doesn't work, like the situation you'd be in legally, the paperwork, all that stuff that
I
comes with it.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're still scared then, because if it doesn't work
I don't
out,
think
we're
it's
gonna
out of
have to-
fear though, but maybe,
Really?
or maybe they're just
Maybe.
telling me it's not, but like it could be. But I think it's more of like, why deal with that aspect of it when you're committed to each other? What is the government knowing about it?
Do you believe in
in
prenups?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a better thing. I think that makes life easier. If you just
Yeah.
do a prenup, then you can legally get married and have everything, and then it's all divided 50-50. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's not a prenup.
What's a
A
prenup?
prenup is going into the marriage.
A prenuptial agreement that we're going to divide up assets 50-50.
No, it's not
No,
50-50
It's
though.
not
It's just-
50-50.
It's
not
just
always, but you can make
Most
it
of the time, it's not 50-50. Most of the time, people
Yeah.
are going into the prenup saying, hey, what was mine before the marriage is still mine
50.
after the marriage.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like basically an agreement that you're coming to with whatever you want to agree to. So
Yeah.
most of the time it's set up like that where it's like, hey, before I met you and we were married, I've had this, you've had this. If push comes to shove and something does happen or go
Yeah.
down, I leave with this, you leave with that. Not you get half of this because the loss is you're entitled to it. It's just kind of agreeing on where you stand. And that's why I'm kind of 50-50 on it, because part of me is like, it's the smart thing to do because we never know, right? Like life
Yeah.
happens. But then part of me is like, do I want to get married to someone that I feel like I would need a prenup for,
Right.
you know? 'Cause
Yeah,
then
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of makes me feel like, oh shit, like why?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
My take with that is we have no idea who our partner is going to be hanging out with in 10 years and what they're going to
Right.
be feeding them, right?
Why is it your partner? Why not you? Well, you don't know.
Or
Oh,
vice versa, yeah, or vice versa.
Already gaslighting.
No, 100%. I mean, 100%. The
Yeah.
girl can have that fear too. And I
Right.
think that's a legitimate fear, whatever partner it is.
No, 100. That's
No
why I see why
idea.
people want to do it.
Yeah.
But then I think I only know like 2 people that have done
I've
it.
done it.
Yeah, and then all my other friends haven't. Some of them should not. But no, yeah, I can see both sides. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's like whatever floats your boat. You know,
Right.
whatever makes you feel comfortable.
But now I'm against prenups. Now that
Now that you know what they are?
actually
Yeah.
understand. Because I feel like in a marriage, I don't think you should operate from the lens of it not working out. If you already picked your person, it's a life commitment. Like, getting divorced is not an option. You have to make it work.
But that's that brown mentality
have
that
to
we're
make it
talking
work.
about.
See, I've talked about this before. That's the problem. You have to be 1000% sure, and you'll never be that sure that that person is on the same wavelength as you.
Yeah.
They can say it up front, yeah, sure, but as soon as somebody starts talking pretty in somebody else's ear, things can change.
Well, not
and
only
we
that,
still
like,
know.
how much do we change our own mind?
Yeah,
right?
either way.
Like, I think it's human nature we do, and yeah, that's why I think I'm open to it. But I feel like I'm kind of like, am I doing it from a place of fear that I don't trust this person, or am I
Yeah.
doing it from a place of
Security.
a good decision to make, right?
Yeah.
But that's the perspective that I disagree with. It's like your parents, right? Like, you can change and not, like, admire your parents as you did when you were 10, but you still have to interact with them, deal with them, maybe live with them in certain instances. But that doesn't mean you get, rent a step a parent or something. Like, you can't divorce from your parents. So it's
That's a
kind
good
of like
business
that.
idea.
Rent a parent. You can't. You know what I'm saying? I feel like marriage is like. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm 24. I'm single. So I'm also just like bullshitting.
Yeah.
But like seriously though, I think you got to go into marriage knowing that that's it. Like, that's your person. Like, if they change, deal with it. Like,
yeah, but the problem is they can say, "Hey, bro, I want a divorce." They may not be on the same wavelength
It's
as
just
you.
not an option. It's like a sports game. You go in thinking of winning. Like,
You cannot
losing is not
control
an
another
option.
person, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I see the.
That's why you have to put your faith in God. Like, if you don't believe in God and you get married as a couple, you're screwed. Like, that just
you do need someone with the same
you're
values.
screwed.
You need the
to deal.
values, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can help, but I do think that's why it's such a tough thing, because I see
Yeah.
both sides. Like, to be honest, like I don't think there's a wrong answer.
Yeah.
I think it's like what works.
I think
for
he's
you
wrong.
and
And he thinks I'm wrong.
yeah, y'all should not marry each other. Yeah, even agree.
Imagine we get divorced.
Pull this out. Yeah.
He had a crush on his best friend since 12 years old.
Oh man.
Hey, let me know right now, bro. I'm right here, bro.
I've
Talk
been
to
told
me.
I got some sugar in the tank, bro.
Yo, you guys turn 40 and you guys aren't, like, you have each other as your backup, right? You know
Yeah.
that way? It's like guaranteed.
Hell no. How many podcasts would we have done by the age of 40, bro? I've already known everything there is to know with this guy.
How many pods would we have to have? A lot of pods.
Hopefully
done,
over
bro.
1,000.
Wow, that's
One,
crazy.
way more than
Yeah,
1,000.
what- you were saying you want to do one a day. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, bro, I'm trying to do one a day.
10,000.
If we get to
man.
when we get to 100K subs, we're doing 2 podcasts every single day.
4,000 episodes.
If we're doing one a week,
Four.
No, if we're doing this like the same amount, like
about 1 or 2 a week.
per year,
Yeah.
I calculated per year.
Oh, okay, so like 90 last year.
When did you calculate this?
Just did it right now.
Oh, right now.
90 times
Calculating
16,
in
bro.
silence right there. Huh?
He's our quant, bro.
Yeah.
Asian man.
Quantitative.
The real Chat GPT right there.
I don't
Real chat GPT.
We did a Big Short skit, and he was like the Asian dude, but he was actually doing a Chinese accent instead of like the American
Oh shit,
accent.
we got to hear this Chinese accent. How good is it?
Go, bro.
Put the mic on.
Yeah, bro. Go. No, it's a done.
Oh, so we can hear you fine without it.
10,000%.
My friend does a really good Vietnamese accent.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, and it's like he'll prank call people.
How does it sound like?
I can't do it. I wouldn't do it no justice. Like I for sure, if I could, I would. But he nails it
Really?
every time. Yeah, it's so.
Is he
good.
Indian?
He's Indian.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
He nails it. Basically, he'll always act like he's at like a nail salon, you know, and like he'll just say like, "Oh, your appointment," but he just nails the accent.
So good. That's
every
funny.
time. Yeah.
Accents are fun, man.
I saw your Kill Tony episode, and Tony was asking you, or you told him about going to a dating convention.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah. So
I'm
I
curious about
went
that.
to a dating convention in New York. That was about last year, January around. So about a year
Right.
ago now. It was cool. It was a lot of speed dating, which
Okay.
was really whack.
How does it work?
So
I don't know
I
what
was
that's
in
like.
Austin actually to try and get on Kill Tony. My friends
Okay.
were all going, and this dude threw it on in New York. It was, I think, I want to say over 500 people for
Oh,
sure.
wow.
Yeah, Indians from all over.
It was all Indians
All
at this.
there was you know, they let some Filipinos in there, but pretty much all
Yeah.
Desi, you know,
Okay.
all from that diaspora right there. But pretty much all, and it was by your age, they kind of split you up in speed dating groups. So I got there late on Friday, and to be honest with you, like my friends were like, they were going and like, yo, it's New York,
Yeah.
like, and I was like, all right, any excuse to be in New York.
Yeah.
So I went Friday super late, missed like the first half of the day because I was kind of like, I just kind of wanted to kick it in the city, and then I got there, but it was cool. Like the speed dating wasn't the best because like you're just in random rooms based on your age. And
What are the age demographics?
so the one I was in I was 33 at the time, so I think I was in the 27 to 34, I want to say was how the breakout was.
Okay.
And then they had like, I think no one was under 21, so
Okay.
it was kind of like, I think there might have been two before that, and then there was one for like just 35 plus. I
Gotcha.
think I don't quote me on that, but
Damn.
we were just kind of in our room. And then after that, there was like mixers and like stuff like, and I thought that was better because that's where you can actually like talk to the people. It's not like kind of like an awkward 1 minute speed
Straightforward,
dating.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So
1 minute.
yeah, and then I want to maybe it was 3 minutes. No, maybe
But
it was
still,
like,
if it's sub 5-10 minutes, that's crazy.
oh, maybe I don't know, but I was trying my 3 minute routine on every single.
Your best minute? Your intro line?
Yeah, it's like
You don't say a word, you just say your entire best
And the
line
thing
of
is, like,
jokes.
you're sitting right, like when you go to the next one, it's like they're so close to each other. Imagine I hit the same jokes with the
Oh
stand.
my
like,
God.
Who's gonna land it better? No, but it was cool. Like it was I think the speed dating aspect of it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But then just being there, being around people, all single,
Yeah.
everyone, it was fun. Definitely fun being in New York. Wouldn't do it again, but still, it was still good.
Did your buddies link up with anybody or?
You
Keep talking
know,
to
out
somebody?
of everyone that went, everyone's still single.
They're a scam. Conventions, dating conventions.
No, but I wouldn't say
How
that.
much did it cost?
I think it was under 400
Just
like-
the entry fee.
just to go in. They had, but that includes like food, all that stuff.
For the day?
For the 2 days.
Oh, it's 2 days.
It was
Okay,
2 days.
gotcha.
It was from what I remember, it was Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
Got it.
Because
Okay.
I was in New York for a couple days after I was there. Yeah, I think it was
Just kick
Friday.
it.
The event was 2 days.
Gotcha,
Friday,
okay.
Saturday. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I think
And you're in this auditorium this whole time?
it was a Marriott Hotel Convention
Okay.
Center ballroom.
Big mall.
Hotel.
The best convention. Yeah. All Patels, man. No, it was
Patel convention.
Yeah. No, it was good
Patel.
though. It was good though. But I think it's what you bring into it, right?
Yeah,
Like if you,
yeah.
I know a lot of people have had success from those, but just my friends
The
specifically.
convention, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Definitely, people met their partner or dating stuff like
Speeding,
that.
that's
So
insane.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing came out of it for you.
not for me. I think I met some people, but I think a lot of the people, just because it was in New York, they live on the East Coast, and like for me,
West
like
Coast.
yeah, I'm in California. I
That
don't.
makes sense.
it's hard for me to leave. So it was like, are you gonna try and make long distance
Yeah.
work? And
We have an Indian that's making it work. And
really,
yeah.
Oh yeah, from New York.
He's an
yeah.
SD and
That's
she's
right,
in New
yeah.
York right now.
no, how long have
Yeah.
they been dating?
They
5
actually
months.
started dating once she took off.
What?
Yes.
It's a weird story.
Wild.
Yeah. He's a weird guy. So
Hey, I mean, I hope it works, but like, what's the over and under that we got on that?
Crazy,
Like,
huh?
what do we set the line at?
It's been 6 months, bro.
Well, I
or
feel
longer.
like,
no, I think they're gonna get married. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
okay.
I've never.
Shut
seen
the hell
serious.
up, bro. You never even met the broad.
No, I think he's gonna get married to that girl. Though. It's
God
that's what he's
willing.
saying for
God
me.
willing, but
It's in the
He's
works.
never even talked to her, bro.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Do you think they're gonna do a prenup?
Huh?
Do you think they're gonna do a prenup?
No.
No?
No.
They're just gonna put
You're
their
just
face-
saying what you want to
No.
happen, bro.
You like manifest. I want them to get married without a
Yes.
prenup. Yeah.
I want to marry this time next year.
You're trying to officiate
the
the
best
wedding.
man,
Yeah.
I want to do some material,
I
bro.
got married a year ago.
I got 30 minutes. I can do a good.
Yeah, a tight 30. Yeah. Do it while
Tight
everyone's
30.
getting their food.
No, I don't think I could handle bombing at an Indian wedding. I would start doing crowd work. Like I could not.
I feel like I
Why?
would bomb more with crowd work.
Huh?
I feel like I would
No,
bomb.
I did. I mean, I've only done something like that once. I did this thing at Cal State Fullerton last year. It was all Indian people. It was like 200 people. But it was a Diwali dinner night thingy. And it was kind of like a wedding. There was literally in a hall, people wearing traditional clothes. But
Yeah.
I started doing material the first minute. And like half the room was just talking, you know?
Oh, that's the worst.
That's the because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god. So how do I get them to do attention? So I literally went table by table, did crowd work, and I got their attention only by doing crowd work.
That's good.
That's the only way I survived. It was 15 minutes up there, so I had.
my God.
I had to survive. I was like, I can't just stand up here. And do
So after
material.
5 minutes, you're like, I got
No, after the first minute, I was like immediately crowd work, and I would come back and do some, and then just go
Oh,
table by
interesting.
table by table, pick on people.
Did you eventually go back to your set, or were you just?
I don't think I
kept
ever
it-
went back to
just
my
kept
set.
it- That's good. That's
Just
man,
mad
that's-
right my way through.
Yeah, I was like, that's tough. That's tough.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't. I've never done a wedding.
Did you have 15 minutes prepped?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice,
yeah.
okay.
I had 15 minutes prep.
It's all on prenups. Like that's all on prenups.
So what about that prenups, guys?
What, before doing stand up, did you think you had like the fulfillment in your life that you have now?
You know, I did for a little bit because started out as a CPA, doing like the smart thing, the big four, like the safe thing, right? And I eventually was like, I don't give a shit about this. Like I really was like, you kind of have this realization that like, I'm just doing this for a check, right?
Yeah.
And I think around maybe like 5-6 years of corporate was where I was like, okay, like I was in healthcare because all my background was in the business side of healthcare. And I was like, like I don't really care about this. And I was like, I'd like to do nonprofit work because actually when I switched, like most Indians, I went to college as an engineering major, but switched out of that. And I was undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Kind of was like, okay, do I want to go to law school? Do I want to be a lawyer? Do I want to do business? Or I actually wanted to teach. I really enjoyed teaching. I was teaching at a elementary school while I was working in college, working with kids, underprivileged kids that moved from Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, wow.
Moved to Moreno Valley.
Okay.
So it was cool, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like I'm a grown ass kid myself. Like this was like fun to get to do." And then my mom was like, "No, you can't do that. Like, like there's no money in it." So she was like,
Can't be throwing Diddy parties.
Yeah. She's like, "How are you gonna take care of yourself and everyone? No girl's gonna marry you." She hit me with all this shit, Yeah. So then I switched to business, did accounting, and I only did it. Like I was good at it.
Yeah.
But then I was like, after doing it, I was like, I don't have this, like, I'm just here for a check kind of feeling. And then I was like, okay, let me get into the nonprofit space, or at least I can connect with the mission, and started doing that. And that's where I did feel fulfillment, to be honest. I felt like, okay, like I'm making a difference. This feels good. Using my accounting skills in a good way. But then I also felt like when COVID happened, I got a little jaded with California and just kind of learning about sort of the policies that allow, especially when I was working on Skid Row, that allow, for something like Skid Row to exist, right? And that's kind of where I was like, okay, like no one really, I don't want to say this in a bad way. It's like, because people are working hard there, really trying to make a difference. But I think sometimes the system and the yellow tape, it's like maybe,
Nothing's really happening.
right. It's like, are we really trying to solve the problem, or are we just trying to throw a Band-Aid on it?
Right.
And and I think that's why the problem's gotten worse and all that. And that's kind of where I had the realization during the pandemic. I was there for 2 years where my friends were all working
Yeah.
remote, right? And I was going in every day to the homeless shelter.
wow,
during
okay.
the
During COVID.
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
because like, they're a shelter, they're open.
Yeah.
We were working in, they don't close. They don't close. So like, they're an essential business. So like, we were going in every
Forever
day.
time of business.
Yeah, we were going in every day.
As a volunteer or?
No, I was working. I was the CFO.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was there, and that's kind of where I was like, okay, I'm not really
Chief financial officer, by the way.
Yeah,
Not-
so I was making the difference that like I wanted to, because
Yeah.
like I was like, okay, why I'm taking a pay cut to work a nonprofit.
Yeah.
I'm connected to the mission, but like things that I thought we should do different. There was moments where I was like, okay, this is not for me. Like there was a moment we were applying for a grant, and I was doing the budget for it, how we were gonna do it. And I remember, I'm not going to throw the person under the bus because you could probably look them up, but they literally like said to me, when I did the budget, it came out to like, I don't know, like 1.6 million. And we were applying the
For
state.
the entire shelter.
No, well, for this new program that we were trying to do. And when the way it works, like the state or the county will set up funds. They're like, hey, we want to take care of this underserved population, and they'll go out to bid to different nonprofits, right? And so it was up for bid, so we had to come up with how much we think it would cost us to run this program. And I came up with my number. And the person told me, that's way too high. We're not going to win. You need to bring down the number. I was like, where do you want me to bring it down? Because I thought I put together a pretty good budget. And he was like, well, your food cost is too high. He's like, I don't care if we serve them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every meal. And like, that's kind of where it hit me. I was like, oh shit, like I'm really not making a difference. We're just trying to win this grant to get this money so we can cut off 10% for us. And that's when I was like, that's where it really just kind of all snapped, where I was kind of like lying to myself the last year of being there. Like, okay, I'm doing good work. And that's where I was like, all right, I'm just going to take a remote job and,
write it out
and work and have money, because I was like, I can make a difference on my own.
Yeah.
And that's when I moved to Austin, to New York. I took that remote job, and that's when I started doing
went
comedy.
Joe Rogan,
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so how do you solve homelessness? Like, what's
Oh, man, that's the $1 billion question.
in your experience when you had an inside perspective on this? So like, what did you see?
I have the answer, by the way, so just make sure it's right.
We should ask ChatGPT. Like, what do you think, George? No, I think. I mean, obviously, it's an issue that can be solved, right? Like,
I think it can be.
I mean, 100%, because like I just got back from Japan. There's not any homeless people there, right? So like clearly there's
homeless people.
I think I saw a total in 3 weeks. I saw maybe 2 people
at night time.
And maybe
when
they
no one
just-
is watching.
Maybe
yes.
they just weren't that dressed that well. They could have probably not even been homeless. I'm just assuming, like, probably just weren't dressed that well, because everyone dresses really well in Japan.
In Japan,
But,
yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, there's countries that have figured it out. There's cities or states. So like, to say that we can't figure it out, I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously in America, it's a little different. I think the first thing is you stop the pipeline, right? People are, a lot of the reasons when you see in my experience when I was on Skid Row, you think of like, oh, people lost their job and they're going to be out on the street. They can't pay their mortgage. There's services around there. There's shelters for that type of situation. Say your house burnt down. It's not like your house burned down and you go straight to the street.
Right.
A lot of the people that are on the street, unfortunately, mental health,
Yeah.
they've gone through addiction, a lot of veterans. It's always hard to say what came first, the chicken or the egg. Was it the mental health, or was life, things that happened that caused them to go down a path that led to mental health issues? So when I say stop the pipeline, it's like more work for the kids who are in the underserved community, who are more likely to go and experience homelessness, who come from maybe gang infested areas, who turn to selling drugs or abusing drugs and then end up on the street. Veterans who come back, right? Making sure they have resources so they don't slip into, coming back from war and what they saw, I'm sure so traumatic. And, when you come back and you don't get the resources you need, and you turn to alcohol, drugs, and painkillers and all this stuff to deal with what you just saw, the next thing you know, you can't keep a job. You end up homeless. So that's what I mean by stopping the pipeline of how do we make sure we stop people from these things they all kind of have in common. There's always some sort of mental health, addiction, violence, sexual violence, things
What was
like
the
that.
percentage?
You know, I think when I was diving into it, and again, I'm not trying to say what comes first, what
Right,
comes
right,
second,
right.
because that's like the $1,000,000 question. But I would say 80% at least
80% at
experiencing,
your shelter.
experiencing some form of mental health or addiction issue.
Mm.
You know, because I think me prior to going there, I was like, oh, you know, when people say, oh, I lost my job, I'm going to end up on the street. It's like you wouldn't go to Skid Row. Like there's different programs, shelter.
Yeah.
These shelters are more run like AA programs. They're more run to get you back on your feet. You know, even people that I worked with at the shelter, like our head of security was a former advocate. He was 12 years living on Skid Row, decided one day I'm going to turn my life around. Now he was the head of our security department. He was addicted to crack cocaine. He actually graduated from a college, Oklahoma State, I believe it was, moved to LA, came for a job, but just tried drugs, got hooked, spiraled down, ended up, you know, because these people, a lot of them too, you have to think.
They're humans.
Yeah, well, not only that, like a lot of them, not a lot of them, but I would say have family, right? And so it's like their family, they've ruined relationships because of their addiction or maybe their mental health. Not all, but then they turn to, you know, hey, this is the only place on Skid Row where I can live and I can do my sort of addiction or whatever it is, and I could do it in peace and not be worried about that. And that's why they say the first step, even in our program, we say the first step is when you walk through that door. You know, as soon as you walk through that door, they do a good job of providing the resources, right? But it is a lot on people. But I mean, that's the thing. I think the best thing is we stop that pipeline, and that's why I wanted to work in education. You know, I think if you can, like me growing up in the hood, I was lucky I had two parents. Like I saw a lot of people in my own community when I grew up, like we had to wear like I went to a public elementary school, the one that I stayed the longest, but we had to wear uniforms because there were so many gangs already in elementary school. And I mean, that's what I'm saying when I say stop the pipeline. It's like this was the public elementary school in Sacramento, and it was like a lot of these people come from single parent homes. They are going through so much, and like having resources available there so they don't turn on because it's easy to go that way when, you know, you have nothing else going for you, trouble at home, and, you know, your school is basically babysitting at this point, right? In America, like a lot of kids, my parents both work in education, and like they're like, you know, they're not learning anything. It's just glorified babysitting. And so that's what I mean when we stop the pipeline of like, then these people are less likely to turn, or to hopefully less likely to experience mental health issues, less likely to turn to addiction, and you know, try and better themselves so they don't end up on a Skid Row, you know, street.
You don't think rounding them up and taking them to New Mexico and build a little community for them? Well,
that could work?
Building a wall around.
Yeah.
just massive wall.
Have you
and
guys
then
seen
just a little community?
Have you guys seen The Wire?
No,
That's one of my favorite.
Oh, the show. No, I haven't
yeah.
seen it.
They do a great job because they actually have a season where it's all about well, it's about The Wire is the best show to me of all time. It's such a great show. Every season focuses on something different, but they all tie together.
Okay.
And one of the seasons they did on the education system, and it focuses on kids, and then the next season was on legalized. They had this area where they called it Hamsterdam. Because in Amsterdam you could do all the drugs you want. That the red light district. So they call this place. They call it Amsterdam, where you could do whatever you want. And this is exactly what Skid Row is.
Yeah.
Skid Row is like when I was there, there'd be nights when we'd leave late, and like I would get in my car, because in the daytime I would say it's relatively like safe. At night, it's like, man, I would like try not to look to the sides, and like you just drive, because it became a place where people are like, they can do what they want. And the police more or less aren't policing there. They're like, you can be homeless here, you can do what you want, but just don't do it near the businesses. Don't do it near where you're causing. If you think about it, Skid Row is literally a block over from Little Tokyo, where some of the best restaurants in LA are. Like, and it's literally a block.
Yeah.
And so you could do whatever you want here, but if you're over on this side of the street, you're disrupting businesses. You're disrupting. They'll just arrest you and be like, yo, just move right there.
So you're doing this during COVID.
Yeah, I started during the summer of COVID.
And that's when homelessness just skyrocketed.
Right. A lot of people. So
you were seeing it everywhere, right?
Yeah. And the thing too was we couldn't even operate our facility at 100% capacity because we want to socially distance everyone, right? So we couldn't even like let everyone come in. You got a joke there or something? I'm just thinking.
Socially distance and do drugs.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't.
6 feet away.
You can't do it in the facility. So that was the rule. You can't do anything in the facility.
Once they step outside, it's cool.
Once they're outside, it's like we don't own, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it's not like a prison, right? We can't tell them.
Right.
It's like they could free to go, free to come, but the rule was you couldn't do anything in the facility. Yeah.
What I don't understand, we actually interviewed. We did this documentary. It's called The People of Los Angeles,
Right.
about LA, like 6 years ago when we were like first year in college. And we went down to Skid Row. We interviewed somebody who worked at a shelter, and I remember seeing a bunch of homeless people. And I've driven past Skid Row and given out food and does some volunteer activities, but I just don't understand how people have access to drugs without any money. Because, like, from my understanding as a normal person, homeless people are broke. So how are they affording the drugs that they buy and are addicted to?
No, that's a good question because I thought the same thing. I mean, a lot of them you'll see the typical panhandling, right?
What does that mean?
Asking for money, like with a sign, like just asking for money. You'll see that. You'll see a lot of, unfortunately, especially for I'd say more for the, well, actually, I guess it could go both ways. A lot of prostitution, men and women.
On Skid Row.
Yeah, on Skid Row. Who will in turn will use that money for drugs. You'll see a lot of people do move to California who get benefits, medical benefits, because California pays the most. So say you come from Florida or I don't know, make up a state, Wyoming,
Texas.
Wherever you come here, your medical benefits are more, especially if you're like a veteran.
Right.
So you'll get paid more and you can in turn use that for drugs.
Yeah.
So
I met a veteran in Thailand, bro, in the airport. I think I've told you this story. I've never told you this story. So my flight back home was about 4 a.m. It was super early. I don't want to talk to anybody, right? For some reason, I have like an aura or face. People like to come up to me, random people.
Trauma dumped you?
It's very weird. He legit trauma dumped me, bro. He came up to me. He was like, "Hey, dude." I was like, "Hi, man." And he's like,
You look like a kid, bro. That's why.
Well, I was 18, right? I was 18.
Okay.
That's a baby.
And so he comes up to me. He's
in
like, "Oh, where
Thailand,
you
you're
from?"
fresh meat.
Brother. That's not part of the story, bro. That's not part of the story.
Fresh Prince of Thailand.
I'm talking about a damn veteran in Thailand, okay?
He might have had different plans. But sorry, go ahead.
So we're in the airport. Cut this story, long story short, because it was a couple hours. He was basically, "Hey, dude, where are you from?" And I'm like, "California." And he's like, "Oh, how's the homeless situation out there?" I was like, "It's a shit show." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, it just keeps getting worse and worse. More people are coming, and it just seems like it's growing." And he's like, "But what I mean by that is, what are the benefits like for them?"
Oh,
And I'm like, "Well," and I told him, I was like, "It's pretty good. That's why people show up there." And he's like, "Yeah, because I'm actually a veteran, and I moved here. I have a wife. She's really well off. We have 2 kids here, and I'm actually planning on going home. I think it was like Nebraska or something. To visit my dad and brother, and head over to California and be homeless for a while." He's like, I have about 100 grand.
it's like sound like it's like a job. Like, hey,
Bro,
next
I'm
6
like-
months I'm gonna be homeless.
Bro, I'm looking at him. I'm just like,
Yeah, that's
what is
No way,
happening?
that's-
I swear to God, bro. I
That
swear
honestly
to
doesn't
God.
surprise
plan on
me.
being homeless.
I swear,
honestly
he was
doesn't
like,
surprise me.
He told me, he was like, "I have a wife and kids here. I have about 120 grand in the bank.
What?
I don't want her to know, so I'm actually leaving. I don't have plans to come back." I'm compressing all this, right? This is over a course of 2 hours we're talking.
Oh, you guys were talking for a while.
Bro, he wouldn't leave me alone. I'm going to buy fucking water and he's following me.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. And then he's like, "Yeah, so I'm planning, doing it for a couple of years." And he's like, "And then hopefully I can continue getting benefits and keep stacking."
Yeah, that's very common, and I think that's why people will come to California.
Yeah.
And I didn't
being
know from
homeless?
Thailand. Yeah, like it's wild. Like the amount of people we have from like random states. That you like, why would you? And people think because the weather is good, but it's
The
like
benefits, bro.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
benefits
But
are.
people coming to chase their dreams. He's just like, "What's your dream?" I want to be homeless.
Hey man, let them
That's my
live.
dream.
Let them live. That's their dream.
Dude, it's insane.
I can't believe I'm in shock.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I never told you the story?
I may be, but not like I have a dream story. Like, yeah, I have a dream.
It was
And it doesn't surprise you because you worked at a home.
No, it doesn't. I think that's the unfortunate part is like if you look at, I mean, obviously America has the military industrial complex, and it's like how much money per each soldier we put in.
Yeah,
into
right.
But then when they come back, it's like even if we gave half, to them or to their well-being, it's like a lot of these veterans have seen so much, gone through so much.
Right.
I remember when I went to college, I used to work at my apartment complex. So I would do tours and like lease the place out to students.
Okay.
we had a student who had just come back and he was like, oh, I need my own room because he's like, I sometimes have night terrors from when he had served.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you were so young. Like he was literally at that time, he was like my age, and I was like, that's
Insane,
crazy
yeah.
to me. And he had seen so much at such a young age. And, I was glad he was able to go to school, but they go through so much, and that's why the easy thing is, of course, like you want to numb the pain or you find ways to kind of game the system because you're like, okay, this is rightfully mine. Why would I look at all that I sacrificed? Why would I not take these benefits?
Right.
And, I'm owed them. They should be coming to me anyways.
So how do these shelters abuse the budget? Since like you had an inside look at how do they mismanage funds so that the problem just becomes a cycle?
I wouldn't say it's a lot of mismanaging of
It's
funds.
intentional.
I just don't think.
Did you launder any money?
You were the CFO. Maybe that's why you took off.
How are you supporting your stand-up comedy career?
IRS can look at you up to 7 years, right? So ask me in like No, I mean, I don't think there's any of that going on. I genuinely do think there's a lot of good people that work at these places. I think they have their hearts in the right place. Because I mean, it's like, yeah, you're in Skid Row. Like the stuff you're seeing, it's not like you want to go there every day, right? So you're there for the right reasons. You want to make a difference. I wouldn't say it's mismanaging so much as it is like clear. Like if you asked 100 people, how would you solve homelessness? We're going to get a lot of different answers.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like, hey, obviously this method hasn't been working. Why don't we try something else?
Right.
And I think that's where it was like, they're a little more closed off to trying something. It's like a lot of nonprofits, a lot of government. There's a lot of yellow tape. A lot of stuff moves slow. I remember I talked to the director of our mental health services. I was like, hey, let's get you more advocates, more mental health advocates who can talk and work with. They were supposed to see like 10 people an hour. And it's like, how do you see that many people a day?
Yeah.
Right. And like these people need a lot of one-on-one time. They need someone to talk to. They need someone to, when a person's at their lowest, right?
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, absolutely not. We can't do that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, why are we trying this method when we know it's not working? How about we try something different and see what that result would be?
So this is my opinion. I mean, no way to know if it's a fact or not, but I strongly believe nonprofits are just a disguise for for-profit businesses.
Oh yeah, they still operate like a business. They just don't pay taxes.
They just
That's
don't pay
the whole-
taxes, literally, right?
Yeah.
There's people that, whatever, that they're against that or whatever, but it's true. I mean, every nonprofit owner I've met, it's like a lot of them trying to weasel their way into getting things.
Right.
I've had people approach me from nonprofits, literally like trying to weasel their way into getting something. Somebody asked me for half of my warehouse space for free.
Oh wow.
I was like, bro, what do you think I am, Superman?
You trying to set up tents or something? Or what?
Crazy, dude. Well, they wanted storage for their inventory.
Oh.
And I'm like, I have my own business to operate, dude.
Right.
I can't give you my storage space.
Especially for free. Yeah.
It's insane, right? I've had people ask me for inventory for free, and they're like, oh, you can use a tax write-off. I'm like, buddy, $3,000 fan isn't good enough for me to give it away to you, right?
Shoot or shoot. I guess they're like,
Shoot or shoot, I
let's
guess
just get what
so.
they can.
Nonprofit salesperson.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, all this money that's being
Profit salesperson.
that's what they are, bro. They're nonprofit salesmen, man.
Jordan Belfort their way into government grant.
Yeah, bro. So the other thing is, all this money that the government is giving away, right, to nonprofits, there's a reason why, just like you said, nothing's actually happening, right? People are being fed, people are getting, maybe not getting infected because there's clean needles, all this stuff, but there's a reason that there's so much money going into this and nothing's happening.
Right.
They still don't have real shelter, right? They still don't have real opportunities for jobs. If the government wanted to, they can open up some, just for the sake of time, like, a liquor store or like some gas stations or like something where these homeless people can apply themselves to do something, right? Nothing
A
super
liquor
skilled.
store just to get the
I was going to say, probably not a liquor store, but
A convenience store, convenience store, whatever it is, right?
Teaching them job skills, which is something our shelter did. They would teach them job skills.
Yeah.
But I still think there's more people that are in that pipeline. It's like, how do you stop? It's the
How do you
same
cut
thing.
it off?
Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
stop it? Because if you could cut it almost at the head, if you could stop people, like I think of us, and I'll use us as an example, even like my friends, like a lot of us came from, you know, 2-parent households, or we came from places where education was the focus, or
Yeah.
you had the means of like, hey, this is what your goal should be. A lot of these people like don't have that. And that's what I mean. It's like, then it's easy to turn to these wrong paths
Right.
of like, let me start selling drugs, and you start using them, or you look for love in other places. You join a gang because you're not getting in at home, or, you know, even it could happen with women too. You end up in a relationship you don't want to be a part of. And there was a lot of, especially with women who are experiencing homelessness, a lot of sexual violence. And it's like you end up in these positions where then next thing you know, you've turned to drugs, alcohol, or you have mental health issues, and you end up on Skid Row. So that's where I feel like
Better education's needed? Or
well, that's what I love The Wire so much, because they do such a great job of like showing literally how like they start the first season with like the gangs and like how the gangs are, but it shows, and I think it was season 4 of like the kids, and they end up being the ones that join the gangs because of like what they're going through, right? And it's like, how do you stop this vicious cycle?
Yeah.
I think what a lot of other countries do well that don't have as much homelessness is they really invest in their youth. And like, I think for us, coming from like parents who, you know, really, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, as much as I wanted to be a teacher, I hated school, because I felt like school to me was kind of glorified babysitting in my experience with it. And I think if I didn't have that strong foundation at home where my parents pushed education, really made sure we were working on our school stuff, taking advanced classes, like, I don't know where I would have ended up, you know? So I think that's the difference. People invest in the kids early, and so that you're less likely to go down those paths, right?
Yeah.
And if you stop that pipeline, maybe it'll lower the numbers of a little bit. But yeah, there's still, that's the problem, is like the problem keeps getting worse. There's more and more homeless people, right?
Yeah.
So clearly what we're doing isn't working.
Right.
What does Japan do? I mean, I was there a year ago. We were there.
It's culture, bro.
It's
100%
culture,
culture.
It's
Different
culture.
culture.
Yeah. There's expectations here. There's not really expectations, right? It's just like
There's no expectation.
like live life how you want. You have to be happy at all the time. It's like, no, bro, do something meaningful, work hard, try something, right? And over there, I think that's what they believe in, right? The youth, there are expectations for you to do certain things, and I do think their culture is toxic. I do think
I think
it's not
they're on
perfect.
one extreme.
They're one extreme, 100%.
And we're on the other extreme. The happy, there's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. And I personally don't believe it'll ever happen. Something right in the middle. I think human nature and greed, it's always going to be some way. It's never going to like fit right there.
But there are communities in America that have figured out. Actually, when I moved to Austin,
Austin's good. Yeah.
they had
decent.
they had actually a huge increase of homeless people.
Yeah.
And they got it back down.
They
and
shifted,
so
right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think there are solutions. You
Yeah.
know, that's why I don't want to give up. I just think when I was working there, I couldn't do it the way I thought was best. And, you know, I'd only been there for 2 years. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just going off what I saw and what I would try. And that's why I felt like, you know, I could make an impact. I don't have to be at a shelter. Like even you saying you go out there and pass out food. I think just being around our fellow humans, everyone that we meet, and trying to be better to them. Like if you know someone's going through something, mental health, like being there for them, right? If you know you have I had a friend who was bad relation, was drinking every day. And I was like, yo, man, like, that's not the way you deal with that. Like, you know, you got to deal with it in a different way, because that's natural. We turn to things. And so I think if we can all be there for people in our lives, that's a huge way that we can
100%.
all kind of change the community aspect of it too.
Be more family focused again.
Which I think Japan does a good job.
They do that,
They're very like part of the community. Like
Yeah.
everything you do is part of the community. It
Yeah,
impacts.
you are a cog in the big
Exactly.
function, right?
Yeah.
The other thing though is they're very low social skills. Very low social skills,
don't
right?
talk to each
They don't
other.
talk to each
Yeah.
other.
Oh my God. When we were on the trains, I
Yeah.
was telling them, like, we were like the loudest ones on the train.
Exact
Same
bro.
thing,
Yeah.
dude.
We
It was
walked
like-
into the airport right after landing, and we were talking, and we realized we're the only ones
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
It's a packed
It was
train.
wild. Yeah.
Where did you go in Japan? Which city?
Tokyo, Kyoto, Mount Fuji, and Osaka.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
literally like our trip.
Yeah, our
Oh,
trip.
nice. You guys, yeah, we hit
we
the
went
big
to
ones.
Hiroshima too. Though.
Hiroshima.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. I went with my parents too, so we
Oh,
trying
nice,
to do
okay.
like the touristy things. They really want to do Hiroshima, but I was like,
It was
dude,
worth going.
Was it?
You gotta
okay,
go.
because I thought it was just
Kinda
like
depressing,
museums, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
my parents aren't like really museum people.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no,
And so-
totally museum vibe.
Right.
But
It's a beautiful city now.
Yeah, Hiroshima's beautiful, bro. Good food in Hiroshima. I mean, everywhere in Japan's good food, right? But select foods in Hiroshima are good. And interesting fact I thought was super cool was they actually kept the aesthetics of Hiroshima pre 1945.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just so they can always remember, hey, this is where we came from, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. Maybe I know Japan's one of those places I want to go to again.
Right. You got
So
yeah.
maybe there's so many. Like,
There's so many places.
We
in
actually
Japan,
also
bro.
hit Nara, which was cool.
Same.
Oh, Nara,
Yeah,
yeah.
Nara
You
was
talking
cool.
to the deer?
Yeah. Cool.
Damn, bro, you went the exact same spot.
We find literally what I
All the
did.
touristy spots.
We were there
When
for
did
12
you go?
I was just there 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
Bro,
ago.
we
Oh,
literally
nice.
went exactly a year ago in March.
Yeah.
Were you guys? Was
Yeah.
it good weather for the Sakura?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cherry
Ours
blossom just
wasn't.
came out.
Ours were still kind of like they were
Oh,
like
really?
half up. Yeah.
We were actually end of February to early March,
like March
and we
12th,
saw the
yeah.
first blossoms.
I think for us, they were saying this season was a little early. Like it was gonna start in like
Later.
like right now is probably the best time
Oh,
for
okay,
this
got it.
season.
Got it.
But loved it. Definitely would be back for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it was the best. One of the best countries I've been to, and a lot of that community feel.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Interesting fact about Hiroshima: our friend, the weird guy, was listening to the Oppenheimer soundtrack in Hiroshima. I was like, bro, that's too on the nose.
Yeah, that's
You can
perfect.
listen to any soundtrack.
I-
Really? Yes.
How do you know this?
I asked him.
What are you listening
what are
to?
you
Yes,
listening to?
Oppenheimer, bro.
Hans Zimmer,
Destroyer of the
Oppenheimer,
world.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is he didn't tell anybody. He had to ask him.
Yeah. Oh, he was in the
Yo,
zone.
what are you
Own world.
listening to?
He
Like,
was
what-
in the zone. You know, he was like he was planning some stuff.
Oh my God.
fully immersed.
That's
Alright.
insane.
Anything else you want to say before we end the podcast?
No, I think we covered a lot of cool topics.
Yeah, that's
you know,
cool.
this was awesome to get
Where
to
can people find you?
introducing Arpit. That's my my
Arpit.
social media. That's my comedy one at least. I have a separate one, you know, just because like
Oh, you do? Nice.
just keep the personal away
Yeah.
from the comedy
comedy,
side.
for
Yeah,
sure.
Nice.
Nice,
Okay,
dude.
introducing Arpit everywhere.
introducing Arpit everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up, man. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming on.
No, thank you
Appreciate
guys for having me.
Yeah,
This
bro,
was a
good
lot
luck.
of fun,
Yeah.
man.
Yes, sir. Got to do this again.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.